But hello, thank you so much for joining me for Pilates Sculpt. My name is Audra, and today we're going to use several props. We're going to use weights, a ball, and a mini band. If you're at home and you don't have access to one of these, no problem. Instead of a ball, you can fold a pillow a couple of times or opt out. Instead of weights, you can use wine bottles, water gallon jugs, or just squeeze your own muscles. And if you're like, I don't have a mini band or a TheraBand, don't worry about it. It's just an added bonus. You'll still feel your glutes even without it. And as I was just saying, Sculpt is where we take the concepts of Pilates and fuse it with functional integrated movement. As always, if something doesn't feel right for you and your body, don't do it. Feel free to modify, ask questions, or just opt out. We're going to begin standing. Come on, you sleepy heads. Let's get standing. We're just going to do a quick little body scan. So bring one hand in front of your abs and one hand on your back, and just start to shift your weight forward and back a little bit, and notice how your body responds, right? If as you shift forward, if your back arches, see if you can instead pull your belly button to your spine. Good, just a couple more. And then find that nice centered weight where your weight is evenly distributed between your toes and your heels. And then just see where your ankles are, right? Are your ankles kind of back? Are they forward? Or are they just right above your foot? And then your knees, same thing. Are they bent? Are they hyperextended? Are they right above your ankle? You kind of check in with your hips, your ribs, shoulders, and head. Now on your exhale, all we're gonna do is think about pulling your belly button away from your hand and then relax. So it's less of like a spine movement and more like if I had a little rubber band gun and I was gonna like threaten you with it and you would just kind of tighten up. So it's muscular, not skeletal, right? Two more, just a little exhale and draw in. Good. One more. Now, we've got that. We're gonna nod our chin, let your arms dangle, start to roll all the way down, letting your ribs kind of compress in the front so they can lengthen in the back. Shift your weight forward and back a couple of times, finding a position that feels good for you. You can always soften your knees or keep your legs straight. And then take your hands to one side, see how the stretch changes. And then take your hands to the other side, see how your stretch changes. See if you feel this in your calves or your hamstrings or your back. Come back to center, keep your heels on the ground, bend one knee, and then switch. So you're just pedaling through your feet a little bit. Two more. And last one. Now go ahead, bend your knees towards the ground, coming onto all fours. Good. So we find that nice flat spine. We're pushing the floor away, but without overly rounding. And on your exhale, what we did standing, we're just drawing our belly button up towards the sky without anything else moving. And relax. And let's do it again. Exhale. Just tighten up the abs a little bit. Two more. Good. Last one. Hold. Making contact with the floor, we're just going to lift one hand. And then press it down. Other side. So yes, we are making biscuits. We've got kitty cat paws going. Right? So maybe you just lift your hand. Great. Maybe you peel your hand up because your nervous system can stabilize itself easier. Good. If you need it slightly easier, hands together, knees apart, will be easier. If you need it a little bit easier, hands together, knees apart, press your hips back. We'll offer a little bit more support. Okay? So you don't have to be directly above, you can kind of be behind. Just notice what your body is saying. last one. Now, if you need to be on your fists or your forearms at any point, that's no problem. Now just slide 1 foot away from you. Think about pushing down into the floor, drive that heel away, and try to bypass your knee before it straightens. So you're pushing from your heel towards your glute, and then your knee straightens. Fold it in, other side. Drag it out, heel to glute, then the knee can straighten. Fold it in. If you need to be on your forearms, no problem. If forearms is awkward for you, if you're at home, you can use a chair or a couch to be on your forearms if being on the ground is awkward, but you could also use weights to have your hands in a position where your wrists aren't in as deep a flexion, okay? Now extend one leg out. You're gonna push it so far away from you that it hovers off the floor and we hold. Good, and just notice where you feel this. If you feel this in your back, lift your belly button up, squeeze your glute, and then fold it in. Other side, reach it away. Push it so far away from you that maybe it starts to hover. And again. Now maybe you're like, you know, I've got this, but as soon as I hover it, it goes into my back. Don't actually let it lift. Imagine that it's about to lift, but keep contact with the floor. Your nervous system doesn't really know the difference. Good, so you'll still get that glute fired up. Now, if you want, you can of course start reaching opposite arm, but hold for a second, right? Think about long towards opposite wall, and then other side. So a lot of times, if we get our movement from our back, we kind of lift up. I want you to push away. So if you watched a lot of Saturday morning cartoons back in the day, there's always an evil scientist layer where the walls close in. We're pushing those walls away. If you don't know what I'm talking about, ignore me. Just reach to the opposite wall. Good. Now on this last one, hold. Now just squeeze the glute. 5, 4, 3, 2, hold. Bring the hand down, push into the ground, switch hands. Bring the hand down, push into the ground, switch hands. Now if you need to, you can always bring that foot down. Notice how when you use the same side hand as extended leg, it's way harder, right? So maybe you keep the hand on the ground because we're trying not to let the hips rotate too much. They have to move a little bit. Good. Last one. And then other side. Reach. Bring that hand, push, exhale. Yeah, and maybe one side feels different than the other, right? That's okay. Maybe you're like, okay, I can do this, but it's not quite what it should be, so I'm gonna keep my foot on the ground. For me, my foot barely on the ground, I actually find a lot more glute on that stabilizing side. As soon as I start hovering it, my body wants to shift. So today, I'm gonna just keep my foot grazing the ground. Two more. Last one. And bring it down. Press yourselves into a rest position for me. Rolling out your wrists. Hands up and over to one side, pressing your hips away. And then other side. Guess what? You guys, we're about to plank. So if there is a version of planking that you know that you need, do that. So otherwise, we can be on our hands or our forearms, slide one foot out, make contact with the floor, making sure you're lifting your belly button, pushing the floor away, and we come into our plank. Good. lift your hips for me just a tiny bit more. Yep, there you go. Good, good. Now, if you're ready, you bend one knee, reach it back. Other side. If you're on your knees, is that okay? Yes. Just make sure you're still pushing the floor away, lifting your belly button and hip bones towards the sky. If this is not what you want to do today, you can always come back to that extension, right? We have 3. 2 more. Knees down. Push yourselves into your rest position. Good. Now I'm going to come onto my forearms because my wrists are donezo. And maybe join me. Just be aware we're not in this prayer position, right? We're going to be on train tracks, all right? So train tracks, slide 1 foot at a time out, widen through your feet. Good. And just rotate your hips to one side. Don't let the shoulders move. And then back. Rotate your hips to the other side. If you're on your knees, that's okay. You can do the same thing. Good. Bring your feet apart. Yeah, and then you have more space. So, yeah, there you go, yeah. Yeah. Now, maybe this is where you stay. Maybe you take a break. Maybe you come into a full side plank. And then you come back through center, full side plank. Now, what about if I'm on my knees? Same thing. No problem. What if your shoulders don't like being on your forearms? No problem. Make sure you keep it slow and controlled. Reaching your hand towards the sky, not behind you. Slow it down a bit, you guys. We're gonna hold it. Hold. Where is your hand? Do you glance up at the sky? Is it behind you or is it up? Hold. Now on the way down, it's gonna be 4 counts down. 4, 3, 2, 1, other side. Hold. Now maybe you need to bring one knee down. That is fine. And then 4 counts down. 4, 3, 2, 1. We got one more like this each direction. How's everybody feeling? Great. Amazing. Using your top inner thigh, bottom glute, as well as that oblique, right? So we have to think of it as a full body exercise. And then 4, 3, 2, and knees down. Press yourselves into your rest position. Yeah. Who's ready for the mini band? Yeah, we're just going for it. So if you're at home and you don't have a mini band, don't worry about it. You will still feel your glutes, I promise. Depending on the material of your leggings, it might turn into a tourniquet. So if it just rolls up and is uncomfortable, always get rid of it. In general, if it doesn't feel great, get rid of it. First, we're coming onto all fours or forearms. And we're just going to brush one knee out to the side and hold. And then bring it in. Oh, just so you know, the blue one's pretty intense. Okay. Good luck. And then other side. Yeah, of course. No, you're fine. Go for it. Yeah. Just wave and say hi on the way back. Yeah. And then other side again. Good. Yeah, don't worry. They can't even see your face. You got pure anonymity. Good. And then widen, yeah. One more each side. And last one. And we're going to press ourselves all the way up to standing. It's going to be so fun. Good. All right. So nice wide feet for me. And we can either move from our feet or our femurs. I want you to think about your upper thigh bone initiating this. We're rotating and your foot is just coming along for the ride. So it's a small toe out, not a huge one. And nice arch activation of your feet. Sink down into a little half squat. Good. Widen your feet for me. Bigger. Yeah, bigger. Yeah, there you go. Good. Now make sure we're not accidentally tucking. We are sliding our hips down and back. Good. Yeah. So do you feel how the band is trying to pull your knees in? Good. So we're going to use our glutes here. Keep one leg nice and stable. Let one knee start to come in a little, and then use your arch and your glute to spiral that knee back. Hold. Other side. It's going to relax, and then you go, no, right? Now also notice if you're lifting the center of your foot. What I mean by that is your arch should gently activate, but if you're rolling out onto the blade of your foot, that's actually your nervous system trying to bypass something that maybe is a little weak, right? And we're trying to keep those hip bones nice and still, pointing forward like gunslinger hips, right? Good. How are those glutes feeling? Great. Anybody not feeling their glutes a little? All right, everybody feeling them? You can give me a thumbs up. Okay. Like, I can't tell if you guys are mad because of the glutes or because you haven't found them yet. Yeah. There it is. Yeah. Last one, hold. Now, I like to put my hands here just so I know where my baseline is. We're just going to press out slightly. Yep, and then again, boop, boop, taking breaks as needed. Now, if at any point you're like, okay, I need a little assistance, you can always use the wall for a little assistance, right? It's like you're sitting on it. It's going to help just a little bit. Good. 3, 2, hold. Now keep that hold. You're just going to lift up an inch, down an inch. Yeah. Up an inch and down an inch. Yeah. Stick your booty out a little. Yes. Do you feel how that's like a little bit more glute? Yeah. Good. So we're kind of just letting the thigh bones fold in the socket. 3, 2, 1. Come on up. Nice. All right. Bring your feet together. Think about squeezing your inner thighs like there's a balloon in between them and you're going to pop it. And then activate your glutes. Push into the floor, float, 1 foot up. That's it. Good. Yeah. Now, if you need to hold on to something, is that okay? Why, yes, yes, it is. Katie, just be aware that the window chair is there. Yeah. And brush. Yeah. And brush. Now notice, so we already did this on all fours. So we had 3 points of contact to help stabilize us, right? So now we only have 1. So if all of a sudden you're like, why can't I stabilize? Use a wall or a couch and add a point of contact. Okay, so we're trying to use our abs, inner thigh, glute, and then we add on, right? Good. Few more, with or without the band. And of course, you can always press your fingertips together or do little sock hand puppet movements, spirit fingers or jazz hands. 2, last 1, good. Now, all we're gonna do from here, come into a little half squat position. So it's like a little athletic stance. And so we can brush that leg out and bring it in. Good. Now, check out where your knee and foot are. So if your knee is across your body or your foot is turned out, that can be some tension on the knee. So if it's appropriate for you and your body, try to keep your toes relatively forward, knee over about your 2nd or 3rd toe. Thigh bone slides back in the socket so that glute is stabilizing you, yeah? Good. Good. And keep the knee bent. Yeah, gorgeous. We have 5. Yes, yes. Yeah, kind of a lot. Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah. That's a great question. If you didn't hear that, we're feeling it in our standing leg. Good. 2 more. Last one. Now, slide that foot in a little bit so that knee is bent, making sure the hip bones are pointing towards the same angle as the toes and knees, and we unwind our hips. So we're rotating our hip bones around our thigh bone. Hold. Everybody feel that glute a lot? Good. If you don't, bear with me, we'll get there. Keep your knee slightly bent. Push into your foot, push into your other foot, hip hinge up. Now we're keeping the knee bent because we're trying to come into hip extension without knee extension, okay? Now think about sending your butt away from you like you have a flashlight on your tailbone and you want to shine it at the wall behind you, right? Good. And if you keep your weight over this foot the whole time, that glute's going to start to kick on more, yeah? And then on the way up, if we're missing hip extension, a lot of times our back is like, I'm helping. But what we want to do, squeeze the glute forward. Yeah. Like a little Michael Jackson move, right? Boom. Good. And then if you want, you float that back foot. Good. Try to keep your knees soft here. Yeah, bend your, yeah. It's harder that way. Good. How's this feeling, everybody? Amazing? Yeah. I'll take your silence and slight tiny groans as like, yeah, amazing. 2 more. Unless you need a break. If you need a break, breaks are great. Now come on up. All right. Now, keep that knee soft. We're going to think about our hip bones moving towards that thigh bone and away. Try to keep the knee still, right? So the knee is not coming along for the ride. And then you can always float that other leg. So we are thinking of our inner thighs, glutes. Now, if that feels good, you're like, okay, you can come into little forward fold. And it's a little bit harder because as you rotate off, you really have to get that glute to press into the band. If you're like, I don't know what you're doing, think about your knee staying still and you're just turning towards it, turning away from it. You can always use a wall or a couch for a little support, okay? Good. 2 more. And of course, if internal rotation isn't for you, don't go into it. Monica, talking to you. Okay. Yeah. And feet together. Guess what? Other side. Everybody excited? Did we though? Squeeze the inner thigh, push down, and float that leg. You know you're not going to trick me into avoiding doing a second side, right? Yeah. And brush out. And again. If I'm being honest, every time it's second side time, and I'm like, man, why do we have to do our second side? I always think if I was a cat, I'd have 4 legs that I'd have to do. If I was an octopus, I'd have 8 legs that I'd have to do. So 2, not so bad. It's like what a quarter of what an octopus would have to do. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So still using those abs, make sure that our back isn't taking over. Good. So rotate your hip bone forward. Bring your foot back slightly. Now, when you press out, think about a little rotation. Knee out more than the foot. Yep. How's that? Okay, yeah. 3, 2, Last one, nice. All right, we're gonna tap it down. We're gonna sink into that little athletic stance. Notice if your body's trying to get out of the work already. Mine likes to, and we take it up. We fold it in. You take it up. Good. Nice wide feet, nice toe spread. Sounds gross, but is really important. Good. Still sliding those hips down and back a little bit. If you need to, you hold on to something. And just see if this side feels different than the other side, right? So for example, I have to think about my tailbone pointing the opposite direction and really think about my thigh bone rotating in the socket, or my hamstring tries to do the work for my glute, right? So maybe one side is much stronger than the other. Maybe they're equally strong, just different muscles like to help. We have 3. 2 more. Last one. Bring it in. We hip hinge. So think about the hip bones. The whole pelvis is rotating around the thigh bone. Hold it for a second. Push down into that foot, keeping that knee bent a little. And when we do the little squeeze, right? Good. So that's nice soft knee. Good. Widening through your sits bones. Gorgeous. Relaxing your faces. And push to drive it up. So we can either ignore the foot that's on the ground and just move, or we can use it to help us. I say we should use it. So if you've ever done reformer work, right? Part of the cool thing about the reformer is the foot bar. We're using the floor as our foot bar, right? We're just using it to close our kinetic chain a little bit, which one helps our proprioceptors know where they are in space a little bit more and can just help muscles recruit a little bit faster. Good. 2 more. And of course, if you want, you can then try floating. 1 more set. Sometimes floating the leg up, I feel more work. Sometimes I actually feel less work. So check in, see what your body says. And then we get to rotate. Everybody ready to rotate? Yeah, so trying to keep the knee forward. Keep the knee forward, right? Of the stabilizing side. So for me, that's really hard on this side. So I'm gonna keep my toe down so I can use the floor for support, okay? Good, so really think about this knee. Okay, now, if that's easy, of course you can float that knee up. You can also come into that little forward fold, once again, pressing that knee out. Yeah, tuck the toe down. Yeah. So we're using our inner thigh to rotate us, and then we're using our glute to rotate us. Same thing. If you're like, I can't quite get it, imagine that your knee is against a couch or a wall, and it's just going to stay against that couch or that wall. Okay? Whether that foot is up or down. Good. How are your feet? Everybody's feet working hard too? Yeah. 2. Oh, I'm going to fall on this side. This is my exciting side. Last 1. Come on up. How are you guys feeling? Great? Good. We're going to slide our first foot back. Good. Now, the first side that we did, that leg is back. Yeah. Now, think about an elevator, not an escalator. Thigh bone suction cups in the socket. Back knee bends. All the weight is on that front leg. Push into the ground, bring it up. Now, what if this isn't comfortable? You can either hold on to something, or you can come back to these. Okay? See if you can maybe kiss the ground with your knee, but not aggressively, like a little smooch. Good. Good. And 2. Last one, other side. Good. So once again, we're pointing forward. Imagine all your weight is on that front leg. We're just going to bend the back knee, we'll smooch on the ground, push into the ground to bring it up. Now, is it okay if your knee goes past your toe? Yes, absolutely yes. The only thing is we are thinking of an elevator, right? So we're thinking straight down. We're not an escalator, right? So we're not thinking forward. So even though the knee can go past the toe, we're trying to get equal movement at the ankle, knee, and hip joint, not just all of it at the knee joint. 2 more. Why is it important to let the knee go past the toe? Because you need that to walk upstairs, right? Like 2. Last one. Nice job, you guys. Take the band off if you haven't already. Good. And grab your weights. Good. Now, we're going to do a little double duty today. We're going to do a little weight and a little balance. Great. I can tell you're all very excited. Making sure we're not hyperextending through our knees, so push into the floor. And then lift one foot, if it's appropriate. If it's not, you tap it down. If that's still not, imagine you're on a tightrope. Little bicep curl. Now on the way down, we're slowing it down for 4, for 3, for 2, and then exhale, bring it back up. Now, slow. So why are we going slow on the way down? You guys are like, I don't know. I'll tell you, during our muscle action spectrum, if we control eccentrically, especially if we're squeezing our muscles, like, show me your guns, you guys. Show them to me. Yeah. Do you feel how much more work that is? That means we're going to get stronger faster. Ooh, is there a vet in the house? Because those pythons are sick. Right? Good. Trying to keep a relatively light grasp on the weight itself. Good. 2. Good. Now, you can stick with this, or you can challenge your balance by doing one side at a time. And just see what your body says. Right? Good. A couple more. How's everybody doing? So good? Yeah. How's that balance? If it's amazing, you're like, this is nothing. I would really like more work. Close your eyes. Right? All of a sudden, it's way harder. So if that's too much, close one eye. And then switch. And then switch. Good. Now, all we're going to do, think about your shoulder blades drawing down your back. So your elbows are pressing down to your hips. Now, bend forward slightly, elbows still pressing towards your hips. Let your hands come forward. Now find that same place you just found, elbows down towards your hips. Good. And again, so a lot of times, if we think of pulling back, what happens is our elbows come up. See what my shoulders are doing? I feel this in my neck, kind of sucks. So we're thinking of those elbows dragging down. So we're finding the bottom tips of our shoulder blades. Now you can always float that foot up. 4, good. 3, keeping your collarbones wide, like you're taking off a big jacket. 2, how's that stabilizing side feeling? Amazing. Hold. Draw it down. Now just push your knuckles down, squeeze the back of your arm, hold. And then bend the elbow, same thing. Elbows down, knuckles press down and back. Now, if you're like, I still want to have this position, but whew, you can always tap that foot behind you. You can always bring it in, okay? But instead of just taking the arms back, we are pressing them down, squeezing the triceps. It's as if we're dragging them through mud, right? Good, couple more. Press down and back, yes. 2. Actively squeeze the tricep if you can. All right, come on back. Other side. So once again, here, no problem. You guys ready? Now, this time we're gonna do deltoid. Let's talk about delts. We're not feeling it here. We're finding here. So think about your shoulder relaxing or your neck relaxing. Elbow doesn't need to lift up high. Shoulder doesn't elevate, okay? If that does not work for you with this weight, lighten your weights or get rid of them, okay? We're only gonna do a few. Should be a good time. Maybe you don't come all the way to 90, that's okay. This is still a lot of work, right? Melting through your neck, brushing your elbows down, making a little semicircle. If you're like, you know, my shoulders don't love this, hey, guess what you can do? Bicep curls, okay? No problem. Yeah, we just have a couple more. Then we're gonna take it to bicep curls again anyway. Hey, everybody, are you feeling your glute here? Are you using it? You finding your abs? Yes, Audra. Great. I'm so glad to hear it. And you can have that foot wherever you need it. 2. Last one. Now, we're going to do that opposite. If that works for you, you can always close an eye and then other side. If that's too intense, you can look over shoulder. Good, good. And then try opposite shoulder, yeah. 2. Last one, you guys are amazing. All right, we're gonna find that row again. So elbows to the hips. Think about tucking your shoulder blades under. You can pitch forward and let those arms come forward. Find that same space. So if you feel your erectors, you might be arching. Squeeze less. Think about your ribs sinking down. It might take a couple to find your position, that's fine. You can always be here, you can always be here. We're trying to find low traps, mid traps, not just rhomboids, right? And then also, if we just take the arms back, our pec minor actually rolls that shoulder forward and up. But 2 more. How's that stabilizing glute feeling? Yes. Now hold, and then just press the knuckles down, squeeze your tricep, and then back. Now, once again, you can always have that leg behind you to stabilize. It's still a lot of work on that glute. It's just not as much balance. Good. Nice. Monica, widen through your collarbones a little, but nod your chin a little. Yep, gorgeous. There. Good. 4, 3. Yes. 2. Last one, you guys. We're going to come back down to the ground for another set of planks. Yes. So you can be on your weights, you can be on your hands. Now, first and foremost, you can always stay in a quadruped position. We're all gonna do this version together. So we're just gonna round our back, curl one knee in towards our face, and then back. Press the floor away, curl the other knee in towards our face. Now maybe this is where you stay, back and forth, creating this tiny nugget shape, okay? If you're like, okay, got that, you can slide one foot out. And we're gonna do 5 on one side, then 5 on the other. You're gonna press, hover, lift, hold for a second, slowly lower. That's 1, reset, press, 2, hold, slowly lower. Reset, press, 3. Almost there. Got 2. Last one on this side. Hold, extend it out, bring the other knee in, bring it down, and we press. 1. Good. Slowly lower, allowing your shoulders to melt out of your ears. Press the floor away, curl your tailbone toward your face. 3 more. 2 more. We're almost there. Last one. Extend it out. And bend your knees. Roll yourself into your rest position. Nice job. That wasn't the worst, just second worst. All right, we're gonna go ahead. Come on to our hips. Go ahead, grab the ball, pop it between your knees. Yeah, it's gonna be so fun. All right, so if at any point you're like, you know what, I need a little moral support or physical support, that ball can always go behind you, okay? We just don't want to use it like a little rest position, okay? Great. Hands behind your thighs. Draw your shoulder blades down. Squeeze your prop. You guys look like, curl your tailbone. Roll it back. Yeah. Think about your armpits connecting, and then we roll forward and back up. No problem, right? We can always stay here if we need to. Okay? Couple more. I have like almost 70 songs on this playlist, and the last 4 weeks, Spotify has been like, this Prince song, this every time. I'm like, really? Now, if this is where you are, amazing. If you're like, you know what, I want more work, bring your arms forward. Think about pressing from those armpits down into your knees to make that connection, and then you slide back, hold, and then bring your arms up, hold. Now dive forward, and then again. So what we're trying to avoid is our back helping us, right? So we're looking straight ahead. Only take your arms back as far as you can stabilize, and back. Now, once again, if you need to, you use the ball for support. Tuck your tailbone, Monica. Thank you. And then back. Good. Nice job, you guys. Couple more. Now, what happens if like here, you're like, I don't really feel it anywhere except my arm. Bring it forward, just hold it for a second. That's okay. Don't force a range that's not yours today. Last one. And dive forward. And then restack. Now, once again, hands can be behind your thighs or on top. We're gonna curl back. Draw deep from your abdominals, squeeze your prop, yeah, and bring one arm forward, and then slowly take it out to the side. Don't look at it, look straight ahead, and then bring it back. Other side. It's like Spotify knows when I can't handle high-pitched sounds, and it just wants to play all the songs with high-pitched sounds. Good, and out. Good. Keep squeezing. Shoulders down. Yeah. Good. Now maybe this is where you stay. Or both arms forward. Now you can have your arms floating in space, but if you actually curl and press into your knees, you'll get more work. So I can use this and feel my hip flexors, or I can press down and feel my abs like crazy. Like I'm trembling as soon as I start pressing down. And yes, of course, yeah, of course, yeah. You can also try an external rotation. Yeah, like just kind of like, yeah, see if that helps. Good. And then we get to add rotation. Are you ready? Yes! And back. Now you don't really have to roll back much farther. I'm just gonna look at that hand. Hey, what happens if you're holding on? You have a little support, right? Still try to connect down. We're using those lats, the serratus, yeah, good. And honestly, sometimes if I give myself a little support, I feel more work because I can find my muscles that are supposed to be working more than just the stronger, more dominant muscles, right? Almost there. Good. Last set, last set. You're all amazing. And then come back. All right, so if you have the ball behind your back, move it. You can hold on to your legs or not. We're gonna curl back an inch, curl back an inch, back, back, back. Let your lower back touch down, curl forward. Yeah, no problem. Now, this is sort of, don't look up, look at your feet, it'll help you. Yeah, yeah, see? Good. Now this is like a half roll back with a tiny bit more, so it's in between a half roll back and a roll up. So if you have a prop you need, that's fine. You can also walk up and down your thighs, okay? 2 more. And of course, breaks are great, take them if you need them. Last one. And then hold, hands come behind your head, sneak your feet in. Now, if you need to bring your head down, no problem. Otherwise, lift your heels, squeeze the ball, float your legs to tabletop, and we can tap the toes towards the ground. They don't actually need to make it there, then bring it back. Now, if you're like, oh, I don't like the ball, don't use it. If you need support and both legs moving through space is a little much, ditch the ball, push one foot into the ground, float the other leg up, okay? If you need your head down, try not to bonk your head on your weights like I just did. But aside from that, right? So whichever variation works for you is what I'd like you to do. We have 3, 2, last 1. Feet down, head down, move the prop. Now let your knees go to one side, drag it back from your ribs, other side. We're not getting a huge rotation, we're just getting a little bit of relaxation. Hug one knee towards your chest, let the other leg extend out, making sure that hip is nice and relaxed. And then press that heel into the ground a little and then relax. Drive the heel down into the ground and relax. One more, other side. Hug it in, extend, press it down, relax. Good. Now, you can always keep your head down here. I'm going to show you a couple different variations, okay? So push into the ground, float one leg up, opposite hand presses into the leg. From your armpit, from those ribs. And then you switch, step it down, float it up, press. Everyone try it together. So with that press, think about sinking the ribs down, pushing from your abs, not just your arm and hip flexor, okay? So the core's job has a bunch of different jobs, but one of its jobs is to transfer force from upper to lower, right? So we are creating a loop here. Upper body and lower body is pressing into itself. So our core is trying to transmit the force from both of those places, okay? Now, if that's where you are, amazing, stick with that. Maybe you're in a chest lift and you're doing the same thing, slightly different position. Still using your breath, still using that force. Now, maybe you're like, too easy. You can always push a foot away from you. And then other side. Maybe you also add rotation, curling forward. It's up to you and your body today. What's going to work best for you? If your hand is on the side, that's great. You're still matching that force. So you're not letting the knee come across. And it's not about getting more spinal rotation. It's about matching that force, right? So glute, as well as lat, as well as oblique. Couple more, everybody doing okay? Good, 3, 2, last 1. Head comes down, hug your knees in for a second. Now with your knees in full flexion, we're going to tuck your tailbone. So tuck your tailbone, just curl, and then back. So with your knees already in full flexion, you can't really use the hips to drive the move, right? Because it's not even so much about your hips lifting as about a little curl and imprint, and then back down. So maybe this is where you stay. Maybe you bring your legs to tabletop, press your hands into the ground. Maybe you come into a chest lift and do the same thing. If you're in a chest lift, try to bring your knees and elbows together. Couple more. 3, 2. Last one. Come back to center. Head comes down. I need you to bring your hands underneath your sacrum, between your hips and the floor. Now start to push your feet away from you. Maybe they straighten, maybe they don't. We want to make sure that the back is not responding. So you're just going to start to push your feet away and then let them fold back in. Let them start to push away as if you're pushing into a wall, and then they can fold back in freely and without incident. Couple more, push. So we find where we're going. Last one like this. Now see if you can find that same stability with your legs fully straightened. We're not pushing towards the ground, right? That makes it hard to stabilize. We are suction cupping the thighs in the socket. We're pushing the feet away. They just happen to lower. And then we bring it up. If this feels stable, then you can do option 2. If it does not, I'm going to give you option 1 instead, okay? All right, so I'm going to show you both. Option 1, bring your legs to your tabletop. You curl, come back to center, start to push your feet away. They don't need to go far. Bring it in, curl, push away a little bit. That's option 1. It's still a lot of work. Option 2, you push your feet away, lift your feet, roll over, flex your feet, widen your feet, tap your toes, and then melt all the way down. And then you sweep your feet around. As you roll over, we're not rolling onto our neck. Okay? We have 2 more. Whichever version your body needs is what I'd like you to do. We are making sure that if you're rolling over fully, your weight is still just top of your shoulder blade. And melt and roll all the way down. Hug your knees into your chest. Gently rock from side to side. Hands behind your thighs, roll up. We're not quite done with abs. We're not done with back extension. We're gonna take the ball or the prop, pop it behind us. Hands in our head, extend over the ball first. Oh, should feel really good. Right? Now, making sure it's about mid shoulder blade. Now, curl forward by sinking your ribs down, letting your collarbones curl, and we hold for a second, and then we slowly extend. On the way down, resist gravity. If you're like, it's too hard for me to resist gravity, because gravity is not strong enough. You can always grab a weight, bring it to your sternum, and use that. We're resisting. Two more. Now hold this one up. We're going to press one foot into the floor, float the other leg up. And extend other side. Good. Now, if you're like, you know what, I really want my legs extended, great, you can still slide it up, still extend. Still finding that articulation and control in your spine. Still keeping those abs active, even in extension. Keep it slow and steady. 3 counts up. Hold for a second, 4 counts down. 2 to 3 counts up. Hold for 1 or 2. 4 counts down. Imagine that you've got a bunch of weight that you're lifting. Last 1. Get that extension. Should feel good. Curl and roll up. Good. We're just going to sit for a second. And then we're actually going to use our hands to help us get a little baby bit of rotation. Yeah, not a ton, we're not forcing it. Now inhale, exhale, lift your hands, see if you can maintain the rotation you got. And then other side. So if you really went past your ability to like stabilize, don't go as far, right? Because we're trying to go into a rotation that we can own. So keep the ribs down a little. If we lift them, our back is doing more work. We want the obliques too. Good. Good. Last one, each side. Everyone feel how if you close your ribs and use your breath, your obliques immediately kind of connect here? Fold a little. From here, not from the hip. Yeah, now try. And then really forcefully exhale. Yep, there it is. Yeah. Good. Yeah, exactly. I know rib popping is really cute for 90s hip hop dance moves, but for accessing the obliques, it's a little harder, right? Good. Nice. We're coming all the way to standing, however you need to. And we're just going to do the teeniest bit of balance work. And then you guys are free. So bring one foot in front of the other like you're on a tightrope. And if this is where you are, fantastic. If this is too much, hey, guess what? Bring your foot kind of next to it. And then just try closing your eyes. And maybe you're like, this is easy. Great. If that's the case, you can turn your head from side to side. For me today, I'm just closing my eyes and that's where I am. You're welcome to wiggle your fingers. Do you feel your ankle joint moving? It's just your proprioceptors figuring out where you are in space. It's called noise. It's fine. Then we get to do the other side. Now, if you're on a squishy mat and you're just like, come onto the floor, it's okay. You're gonna breathe. Try closing the eyes if you feel safe. If you need a little bit more like proprioceptive feedback, take your fingertips, rub the back of your neck. I know that sounds crazy, but it's gonna tell some of your proprioceptors where you are in space. Good. 2 more breaths. Feet together, flip your palms up, heart to the sky, and relax. Nice job today, you guys. Give yourselves a round of applause. You made it.